Hi everyone, Molly, the Purple Door Psychic, coming to you with another Wicca Wednesday. And this Wicca Wednesday, we are talking about familiars. And if you are not familiar with what a familiar is a animal guide that helps younger witches who are kind of newer to the craft, also older witches who just like to keep them around. And they kind of act like, as I mentioned, a guide, kind of like a spiritual guide, but in animal form for witches and those who are in the magical community. And in our home, we have, at the current moment, we have three familiars. We have two cats and a dog. And so familiars can be anything, any animal really, or rodent, reptile, amphibian, bird, anything that you want. They do not necessarily have to be the stereotypical black cat. Yet, because I'm such a tongue-in-cheek smartass kind of a witch, I gravitate towards the black cat, yellow-eyed variety of familiar. She is Luna. I'm sure you saw her on my TikTok. She is a little Bombay, the love of my life and the bane of my existence all in once. And that's the kind of relationship that you have with your familiars is you love them, but they test you as well because they're trying to make you a better person. And this is the second time around that she's been with us. Many times when you lose your familiar over the course of this lifetime, or any lifetime really, they will come back to you. And even if you've lost your familiars in previous lifetimes, they will still return back to you, such as our husky, Odin. He was one of my familiars in a past lifetime, many, many, many lifetimes ago, talking about like 1300s, give or take. And he found his way back to me, although my husband likes to joke that he is actually the reincarnated um, form of a former boyfriend because of how much he loves mama. It can be that kind of relationship where they are that attached to you, that close to you all the time. As I mentioned, Luna is on her second reincarnation with us. Before that, she was a lovely cat, not so lovely to the kids though, named Guinness, who same black cat, yellow eyes, same everything, except this time around she's a lot nicer to the kids and loves the kids a lot more because when she was Guinness, she kind of attacked the kids just a little bit. My husband, Josh, he has his own familiar in the form of cat. She is, it's kind of funny because she's our catacorn, since she's a unicorn with a cat. She is a female orange tabby, which for those of you who are cat aficionados out there, you know that there are not too many female orange tabbies out there. She's affectionately called Fluffernutters because two reasons. One, she looks like a Fluffernutter sandwich, which is marshmallow and peanut butter. And two, my husband is a huge How I Met Your Mother fan. So you'll understand, for those of you who watch How I Met Your Mother, you'll understand why. But anyways, so those are the three of our familiars that we have now. As I've mentioned, we've had other familiars with us for many different reasons in the past. They've come into our lives and they've left our lives, and they are, as I mentioned, reincarnations of previous familiars as well. The very first dog that we had, Jack, Black Lab, I picked him up for my husband without knowing that when I picked up this wedding present for my husband, that it was the exact same dog, same breed, same look, same little white stripe right here, everything as his dog when he was growing up, named Pepper. Unfortunately, we lost Jack a few years ago, but he was very, very, very protective of my husband. He was my husband's familiar. So as I mentioned, they can be dogs, they can be cats, they can be rats, they can be snakes, they can be toads, they can be birds. I mean, the sky is the limit when it comes to your familiar. And you don't necessarily have to settle on one thing just because you're like, oh, I'm a witch, I need a black cat. No, the reason why Luna and I get along is because our souls speak to each other, because something put her in my life, in on my path, to make it so she is in my life. The same thing with Odin. We were going to go get a different animal at the shelter. That's another thing we do with our familiars, is we try to rescue them as much as possible. So we were at the shelter getting ready to go and see a black lab that we thought would be great for the family. And right up next to me pulled a woman in a hatchback with 8 Siberian Husky puppies. Now, If any of you have never seen a hatchback filled with 8 Siberian Husky puppies, it is a car full of cuteness. Our daughter was with us. She wanted to know if she could pet the puppies. I said, sure. And next thing you know, we have Odin. But leading up to that, while I was looking and looking and looking, trying to decide on what type of dog we wanted to add to our family, because it is a big, huge decision when you do acquire a familiar as well, especially if you are not alone and you are in a family. So we were looking and looking, looking, and for some reason, my search kept coming back to Huskies, kept coming back to Huskies, kept coming back to Huskies. My husband, who has been raised around Huskies, said absolutely not. Now I know why, but so just look out for clues like that. Just look for things that kind of point you in the right direction for your familiar. With Luna, we went to the Humane Society to find a kitten that was lost in the neighborhood that came right up into our house and just started snuggling on me. It's like, oh, okay, this cat is probably meant to be in our lives. Unfortunately, we returned it to the owner. Next thing we knew, the cat was out again. Couldn't find the cat in the neighborhood, so we went to the Humane Society to find the cat. As we were looking through all the cats and everything trying to find this kitten, I saw this little black ball of fur in the corner, and I went up to it and kind of tapped on the cage. Well, didn't tap on the cage, but kind of put my finger in the cage just a little bit, just to see if the kitty would come. And she came right up and she did what Guinness used to do, which was just sniff my finger, give it a lick and a little bit of a bite. It's like, oh, okay. And I looked at my husband and said, it's Guinness. He looked at me and he said, are you sure? And I said, yes. Then he asked, do we really want her back? Because he, of course, also remembered what it was like to have her as a familiar. Because sometimes, as I mentioned, sometimes they'll be loving and playful and they'll be all full of snuggles and everything for you. Other times they are going to be their own special individual who just is kind of like, I'm not gonna want to do too much because you're not doing what you need to do. And when I say doing what you need to do, what I mean is doing what you need to do when it comes to your craft. Because that's one of the things that familiars help you with is they help you stay on task and stay on target with your craft. It also helps to just form a bond with your familiar, to go ahead and make sure that you're including them in every aspect of your life. Now, you don't have to be over the top cat mom or dog dad or anything like that. You don't, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you should, put them in a stroller and take them for a walk around the neighborhood. No, you should try to commune with them as much as you possibly can. Just get down on their levels as much as you possibly can. And if they are able to, have them in the same room as you as you're doing your rituals, because they will help you. One of the reasons why witches usually have cats as familiars is because cats are absolutely fantastic at absorbing energy. And in my household, we get a lot of energy through the house. In fact, we just recently smudged the house and reburied some protection pouches. That's why my hair is looking a little off, because I had to cut some to add to the protection pouches. We will be talking about that next week. But it's just filled with energy all the time in my house. And that's not because I have a teenager and a preteen, just because of the kind of people that we are in our family. We attract energy, we attract a lot of different energies, and so we have to protect ourselves. And when we were living without any animals, we noticed that we were kind of drained all the time, that we were just dragged down quite a bit. Once we added fluffernutters in 2019, things got a little bit better. I mean, granted, the house that we were in was haunted, but that's par for the course with us. And so a lot of that energy kind of like went away. And then we got Luna. And so it went away even more. And so we're like, oh, okay. And then after we moved back home to where we're at now, uh, it and we got Odin back. We've had him for almost a year now. I'm looking over to see where he's at, because sometimes when I say his name too much, he likes to come and see everything. But then the energy got a heck of a lot better in our house. I mean, not saying that this house is haunted. It's just, like I said, we attract energies. But they help out a lot with the energies in the house. And if you notice you're familiar sleeping a lot more than usual, it's probably a good sign that you need to cleanse your house. that you need to do some smudging, some saging, some protection pouches, something, because they are absorbing all that negative energy and sometimes that positive energy. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm popular today with all my phone calls. So they are absorbing all of that energy, and that's why they're sleeping so much, because it drains them like it would drain you. Uh, just like, you wake up in the morning still feeling absolutely, absolutely exhausted because the energy that you have in your house. So with that being said, I know it's a lot about animals and familiars. With that being said, make sure you find one that who speaks to you, who you have a connection with, where you can look into that familiar's eyes and be like, my soul recognizes yours, your soul recognizes me, we are meant to be. And also take care of them, because not only are they a pet in your house, as some people might see, they are a familiar, they are an extension of you and your magic. And they need to be treated that way, and they need to be accepted that way. And like I said, I'm not saying go out of the way to fully pamper them all the time, but treat them as you would a family member, a little bit better up than you would just your average cat or dog. Treat them as you would, say, not necessarily a child, but a favorite sibling, I guess would be the best way to put it. And just make sure that you're opening up your house and your home to them as much as you possibly can, and pay attention to if they're sleeping too much, because that, like I said, is a signal that you need to really refresh your home with a saging, smudging, cleansing, however you want to put it. Refresh yourself as well with a saging, smudging, cleansing, and even take the time to just meditate with them and help them a little bit, because they will get worn down like batteries if they are absorbing too much energy. So, with that, have a very, very blessed rest of your week. I wish you all the best, and I will talk to you later. Bye.